I did not know about the camera ahead of time. So, few little things. One, thank you for having me here. It's such an honor. Thank you for having all the little baby chaplain candidates here the other week. We call them the little ducklings, and they waddle around, and they're all awkward with their feathers and their little beaks, but they're going to grow up and really help the future of the military and help people take care of spiritual care, which we look at as a bedrock, and we can't function if that's not taken care of. We have physical needs, and yes, those need to be taken care of. We need to eat, we need to be healthy, but we also have social needs, and we also have spiritual needs, which is purpose and meaning in life. And it's such an honor to be a part of the team that provides that to the future of our military. I am in what we call chapel jail. They don't let me interact with people. I work in a cubicle, and I push lots of buttons and move numbers from one place to a different place. Sometimes, after moving the numbers, I get to highlight the numbers in one of 6 preset colors. So I don't throw around the word hero, but if it fits, it fits. I don't know if y'all were traumatized at Kiddush with the borscht talk. I have not thought about borscht in a very long time. I don't know if you're the new school, oh, let's go to the supermarket and buy a jar of borscht. That's one thing. When I grew up, there was a borscht season. So 30 days before Passover, it's borscht time. Oh. So there's that giant jug, and they throw in beets and bread and other stuff, and it sits in the cellar next to the radiator, and it slowly bubbles and ferments with deliciousness. And every so often, you have to bring out the vat of fermenting borscht, and you have to skim off a little green layer of mold, and then you put it back, and you let it bubble some more as it continues to ferment with beady juiciness. And then on Passover, perhaps a grandparent from the old country can drink that concoction and exclaim, refreshing. That is borscht. So, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. I know you think I didn't prepare, and I heard, oh wow, they said this, but no, I wrote it down ahead of time. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How beautiful are your tents, O Jacob. How beautiful are your dwelling places, Israel. That's how this parsha starts off. It ends off with a different verse talking about the Jewish people. Am Yishkan Levad, a nation who dwells, or at least feels like they are dwelling, alone. We move from Matovu, how beautiful are your homes. We're not talking about synagogues. Subsequent verses talk about Mishkan Kivodecha, your abode. But those first verses are just talking about a home, the way we live 6 days a week, and how beautiful those homes are. So if we can take a step back before this parsha, we are in the book of Numbers, Bamidbar. We're in the book of Numbers, and the Jewish people are wandering in the desert, going toward the promised land. And the first time I was here, I remember it was like yesterday, but it was a little while ago. Oh, I mean this year with the ducklings. So when we were here a couple of weeks ago, we were reading about spies, scouts, being sent to scout out the land of Israel and see, what's going to happen if we come here? Who are we up against? Who are the enemy fighters? And they came back and they cried. They said, we'd rather stay here in the desert. We are, and this is a quote, we were like grasshoppers in our eyes. V'chein hayinu be'einehem. We were like grasshoppers in our eyes, and that's how we looked in their eyes, like little grasshoppers. Now, fast forward this week, and the Jewish people are coming up to the south of Israel, and they ask Edom, can we come through the south? We'll stay on the path. We're not going to fight with anyone. We'll keep to ourselves. We'll pay for anything we drink. and they're said no, so then they have to go around to the western side, and it begins with the land of Moab and Midian. They see the Jewish people, and how do they view them? Like a giant ox that is about to eat up the grass. So let's talk a minute about loneliness. That's what we said, a nation that lives alone. And how often in our own minds do we cause ourselves to feel as if we're living alone? And look at that verse. There was a famous rabbi in the 18th century, a proto-psychologist, Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Kutsk. And he says that verse, and it's straight there once you know how to read it. We were like grasshoppers in our eyes. We felt small, and that's how we were in their eyes. If I'm going to feel small, people are going to view me as small. And then we fast forward to the other side of the story. They're feeling small because they decided they were small. We've decided everybody looks at us as if we're small and insignificant. Meanwhile, other people are looking at us and saying, oh wow, this is a giant, powerful ox. And is it in our mind? And do we create self-fulfilling prophecies? There is a statement in Pirkei Avot. Pirkei Avot is a Mishnah. It's written in the 1st century, and it's advice, and it says, be of the students of Abraham. Students of Abraham, Tov Ayin. They had a gracious eye. Don't be the students of Bilam. Students of Bilam have a narrow eye. Ra'ayin, a bad eye. What's happening is the way this parsha, the way our scriptures this week starts off, nobody's bothering anybody. Jewish people are just there, and Moab and Midian say, wait, this is a powerful people, therefore we are afraid. It doesn't cost us, it doesn't affect us. Somebody else has something, and therefore that must be negative to me. That is Ra'ayin, a bad eye. Tov Ayin is, you can have something great and I can have something great too, and perhaps if you have something, what I have is worth even more. Like that chocolate and peanut butter. Chocolate, peanut butter, so much better together. Or, if I may, the beets sitting in the borscht vat with the bread, which you need to ferment the beets, right? Stale bread, good. Raw beets, also good. Stale bread, raw beets, together, delicious borscht. But they didn't see it that way. They saw it as if someone else has something, that means we have less of. And therefore we're going to hire this sorcerer, and this sorcerer is going to curse him. And at the end of the day, today's Torah reading, it's about speech. It's about speech. Bilam is on a trek. He's going out to curse people. And like the movie Shrek, right? It's his donkey who starts talking and says, what are you doing? And read into that how you will. Read into that how you will. But at the end of the day, we're all looking for this high up voice of God to tell us what we're doing right or wrong. And meanwhile, maybe we need to be listening to the lowest people around us who may have that best advice. When we talk about, are we feeling like a nation who lives alone? Then maybe our eyes aren't open. Maybe we're looking up when we should be looking around us. Are we a nation that lives alone, or a people who lives together beautifully in harmony? If you have to read through this parsha, it is so poetic, and it is all about speech. It begins with people hiring this magical sorcerer that only he can pray right, only he has the speech. Then it moves to a donkey, an animal who's talking with speech. And then we add with real beautiful poetry that we don't have a lot of in the Torah. There's one of the rare instances, and the only instance in the Torah of poetry from somebody who isn't Jewish. And it's beautifully poetic. So how do we get from a nation that lives alone to a nation that lives together in harmony? How beautiful are your tents, Jacob? It's through speech. It's how we treat each other, how we listen to each other, how we take care of each other, Shabbat Shalom. These are one of the many lessons. Enjoy the borscht.
Thank you.